What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn. And today we're going to be doing an overarching preview of the 49ers free agency. Matt, there's a couple key pieces: Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, K1. Which ones would you say the most important? Which are going to be the first dominoes to fall? How do you approach this?
Yeah, so we've heard from Ian Rappaport that the 49ers are currently working on extensions for Trent Williams, Kyle Juszczyk, and Jason Verrett. So I expect those to either be confirmed or, either way. So either the team's going to re-sign them or they're going to be moving on pretty early into Monday. So those dominoes are going to fall pretty quick. Now, your second-tier guys like Kendrick Bourne, some of the other guys like that, some of the guys that, carry Hyder, those might be further down the line that we'll have to wait on. And really, those things are going to depend on, free agency as a whole. So right now, the biggest name on the free agent market right now in terms of name is going to be probably Shaquille Barrett from the Buccaneers. I know they're going to try to bring him back, but I don't know if they have the space. And then, you go on down the line, you get a couple other people like Kenny Golladay. You're going to have Leonard Williams from the Giants. I think he got franchise tag. Never mind. Hunter Henry, people like that. So there's names out on the market, and I know the 49ers are top 10 in terms of salary cap as it stands at this moment. So they're definitely going to be players in terms of what they can bring in. They have needs in the secondary. They have needs on the offensive line. Alex Mack is a name to look out for. So once you get past that initial rush of free agents, that's where the 49ers are going to swoop in, because I don't think they're going to sign big name guys. They have too many positions to fill. And even with 10 draft picks, you're looking at a lot of needs. So you need to make sure that you can line up, and not just for this year. The salary cap is obviously going to be an issue next year too. So what are they going to do with D Ford? There's a lot there. I do expect that Trent Williams is going to be the first real big domino that's going to shape the rest of the 49ers offseason.
Yeah, and, Saturday night, we discussed this on our live stream of the Red and Gold Standard podcast. Go and check that out if you guys haven't. John Lynch tweeted out something basically, Niners fans thirsty, want some juice. And then Jed York also tweeted out something about how much he loves his wife and his coach and his general manager. And that kind of got a lot of fans thinking, what the heck is going on? Who's getting signed? I took that as Kyle Juszczyk is going to get signed. And then Ian Rappaport, I believe, tweeted out Sunday early afternoon that they're working to get a deal done by the end of Sunday. So it's Sunday as we're recording this. I guess we'll see if anything's announced. His agent, Juice's agent, that is, came out and basically said, let's pump the brakes. Nothing's done yet. They are working, though, and they're trying to keep him. I agree. Trent Williams is by far their biggest free agent need that they should work to retain. I was intrigued, I should say, by the fact that Juice was kind of the first name that we heard. Obviously, they already were able to retain Emmanuel Mosley to a 2-year, roughly $10 million deal, which was a solid deal for them to bring him back at. You said Trent Williams is likely the next one to fall. Who do you think would go after that? A K1, a Juice?
Well, I just mean from the standpoint of that Trent Williams is the first domino that's really going to affect the 49ers plans going forward. Any one of these other guys could be, it could be Juszczyk. I know that Lynch talked about him, and that might be because there's so little interest for him outside of the 49ers that he's a guy that's easy to bring back, right? But Trent Williams is a guy he's going to be the top dollar guy. He's going to be a big money earner. And if the 49ers let him hit the market and he goes elsewhere, then that really is going to inform what they are going to do with their draft, because then, center right now is the most needed position on the 49ers. I think that they're, again, going to look at Alex Mack, provided that he's released by the Falcons as expected. That's going to be the quickest way to get, that position shored up. But if Trent Williams leaves, all of a sudden left tackle becomes the biggest position for the 49ers at that point. So I just think that, if you're not careful, you could be looking at an entire shift in the 49ers who are going from maybe retooling to an absolute rebuild. Because without that left tackle, I don't think Jimmy has any hope of staying upright. And, if you can't keep him upright, the season's going to be lost no matter what.
Yeah, it's going to get ugly quick if that's the case. On the other side of the ball, though, we got guys like Richard Sherman, who's all but guaranteed to walk. He's pretty much already said his thank you to the 49ers fans, the faithful. So thank you, Richard Sherman. Fantastic time here. Unfortunately, couldn't get you a ring with us. But then there are more intriguing guys like Jaquisky Tart. Do you think he's priced himself out of a return to the 49ers?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's very telling that they decided not to use the franchise tag on him. If there was one guy that I thought maybe they're going to, kind of go with, it would have been him. But I think at his age, I think he's 29. With his injury history, I don't think that you can give him a big money deal. And I expect a lot of these 49ers free agents, if they leave, to go to the Jets. I think the Jets are going to be a major player for people like Sherman, for people like Tart, maybe a potential for Ahkello Witherspoon to go there if he leaves. Kendrick Bourne on the offensive side of the ball could potentially be somebody for the Jets because, they know Robert Saleh, they know what he likes to do, and they feel comfortable with that. Plus, the Jets have money to spend, and they feel like that they can get a real starting job on a team that is going to be building towards the future. So if they're gone, I fully expect them to at least give the Jets a look. But for Jaquisky Tart, I do think that it's time for the 49ers to move on, whether through the draft or whether bringing in a free agent. I just think that it's time to have somebody more reliable. They still have Jimmy Ward, who has his own issues with injuries, and I just don't think that you can have two guys who seem to kind of trade injuries back and forth in that defensive backfield because you need health. I mean, that's the most important thing. So, I think Tart is a guy that unfortunately has played his last down in San Francisco.
I agree.
Do you think you could be an NFL general manager? How well do you know the NFL draft? Submit your picks to 49ers Hive, and if you get one correct, you could win some new gear. More details to follow. Must be following 49ers Hive.
Yeah, and I love Tart. And I know Scott, our guy Scott's going to be sad. That's kind of his guy right there, Jaquisky Tart. But him and Jimmy Ward paired together, it's not a good combination because they can't stay healthy. Jimmy Ward surprisingly was I think he stayed healthy the majority of last season, which is funny because he's kind of got the knack for not being healthy. When everybody else fell and got injured and missed games, he was kind of the one that was able to keep playing and stay healthy. So I thought that was pretty funny to see. But yeah, Tart, I think it's gone. I think K1 is going to be the biggest domino, I guess, the biggest piece here that I'm not sure about. Are they able to retain him or not? He might cost a pretty penny, but he does so much for the 49ers defense. You can make the argument he's worth a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's the guy that, is slept on, and I think that is really important for the 49ers to re-sign. I know some people want to bring Ahkello Witherspoon back, but I think if it was a choice between Ahkello Witherspoon and K1, I would bring back K1 every day of the week. Yep. He's had a couple of injury issues as well, but when he's healthy, he's one of the best slot cornerbacks in the NFL. So there's no telling how much he could actually help the team if they're able to re-sign him for a reasonable deal. It's just going to depend on what the market looks like for him and where they're at after a potential Trent Williams deal. Because if Trent Williams goes, that's less money for everybody else. If Trent Williams stays, less money for everybody else. If he goes, then maybe you can sweetheart a couple of different players to get them to stay on a little bit higher contracts than you'd be able to give otherwise.
Yeah, and it's really just such a huge piece that, like you said, it's going to affect everything else. Another part on the offense we again discussed on our live Red and Gold Standard podcast episode was Kendrick Bourne. He's kind of basically hinted at that he's willing to test free agency, and 49ers are at the top of his list, but he's, if somebody else wants to give him a lot of money, he's definitely going to hear them out. What do you think ends up happening? Do you think he'll stay here, or I think ultimately he ends up with another team?
It's between us and the Jets. So I think if he doesn't go to the Jets, he'll be back with the 49ers because, Kendrick Bourne is such a hard worker. He puts in the work. But if we're being honest, the market's not going to be that big for a third wide receiver. It's just not. Yeah. So it's really going to depend on what he thinks is best for his future. And if that's coming back with the 49ers, great. If not, then I don't think that Kendrick Bourne is that difficult to replace, if I'm being completely honest.
No, I hear you, and I agree. I think, look, he's a fan favorite, and I totally get it. He's likable, energetic, dances, posts on social media, interacts with fans. There's a reason why fans like him. But on the field, his production, I know he was a touchdown machine a year ago. He caught basically everything that went his way in the end zone, and that was really appreciated when the 49ers, had a solid offense that was humming. But I do think if he wants a pretty hefty contract, the 49ers would be wise to let him walk, which is similar to what you've said about Jason Verrett. They're basically banking on the 1 year that he was able to play at a high level and stay healthy, that's kind of the norm. And you've said previously, Matt, if he wants that top dollar, good luck, goodbye, thank you for your services. Hopefully another team gives it to you.
Exactly. It's just, you can't overspend on these second and third tier guys. And as much as I love Kendrick Bourne's work ethic, and as much as he's been a positive player for this team in terms of his hustle, his camaraderie with the team, the attitude he brings to the locker room, it's just, if you can't overpay for a guy like Kendrick Bourne when you have so many other needs on the team, and a guy that's pretty easily replaceable, in my opinion. So he's got to do what's best for him, and I'm all about players getting their money. It's just, if it's going to be getting a lot of money, it's going to be somewhere else.
I agree. Unfortunately, it's not like a couple of years ago when John and Kyle first came in. The 49ers had top 5 amount of cap space to dish out on these contracts. That's not the case anymore. That money's been spent. They don't have much to spend now. So it's going to be tight. But
I mean, they have $36 million with that Richburg freed up a bunch of money. And so there is money to be spent. But again, with that 41 free agents going into the offseason, right, with, the salary cap coming down because of the pandemic, there's so many other layers to this that in a normal season wouldn't be here, that you just have to be extra cautious. I don't want to say cautious, but you have to be extra aware of how much money you're placing into each basket and make sure that you have enough to spread around. The 49ers have a long way to go. We have no idea if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to stay here, which brings another wrinkle to the potential salary cap and their ability to pay for free agents. And that's another thing that, if you start seeing overpaying from the 49ers on a lot of guys, maybe that tips their hand on what they're going to do with Jimmy Garoppolo and either restructure him or get him out of the building. So it's going to be, with the legal tampering period starting Monday and really leading up to the opening of free agency on Wednesday, it's going to be very interesting. And we'll keep you updated as the week goes along. It's definitely the fun season for the NFL. It's the calm before the storm. I think that's why we got those weird tweets. I think that Jed and John were having a little bit of the bubbly, having a little bit too much fun, got a little loose on social media. So let's see what happens, because for people like Trent Williams, for, the big name free agents like Shaquille Barrett out there, I expect those names to be coming off the board before even free agency is official. The legal tampering period exists to announce kind of these top flight deals. So I expect them to be done pretty quickly.
Yeah. And with that said, you guys got to tune in here. We'll have all of the breaking news for you guys. We're going to be doing a new show every day this week. So come back, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this, you're not subscribed. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're going to be giving away a 49ers jersey once we do. We're pretty close. I think we're like 450 away. Help us get there. Help us reach our goal. We really do appreciate it. We're 49ers Hive, Niners News. You're home for 49ers News here on YouTube. So do us a solid and subscribe. But I think that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it. And, go ahead.
We love having you every day of the week. You guys make it fun for us. So we're always trying to bring you the best content that we can. And with that in mind, go ahead and click the bell for notifications so you never miss another new video. And as always, go Niners.